Thanks for joining me for a little bit today for an on-demand module titled Focus Note Taking, subtitle Take Note of What You Wrote. This will be a great time to go ahead and get out some Cornell note paper. I'm going to ask that you only write in the notes section during this presentation today, and I'll tell you when we're going to use the other sections. Let's start off with our word of the day. Who can figure out the word of the day? Maybe get a prize. What's that word? Shout it out. It's okay to holler in the classroom. The word of the day is repetition. If you don't know what repetition is, here's a fake definition for you. Repetition is the act of repeated action, repeating over and over, multiple times, repetitiously, repeatedly. You get the idea. Repetition. So why is this the word of the day? Well, what are some examples of repetition in our life? Maybe if you're memorizing a song, maybe if you're learning how to shoot a free throw, maybe you're trying to teach your dog how to do a backflip, or maybe if you are getting ready for a test. All of those are examples of things that you learn through repetition. One more example, hopefully most of you wash your hair. Maybe some of you use Super Mario Brothers shampoo like I do. If you flip that shampoo over to the back, you're going to see instructions right there that say wash, rinse, repeat. Don't blame me if you can't read Chinese. I'm glad you asked. Let's look at how using the steps of the Cornell note-taking process, it forces us to get multiple repetitions of information and keep our retention level high. Using that big section on the right, the notes section, where hopefully you're taking notes right now, some strategies to get multiple repetitions are going back in that 10 to 20 minute frame, maybe at the end of class, maybe between periods, maybe during lunch, circling words that you think were key from the notes that day, maybe highlighting or underlining some main ideas. As you read through your notes, if you identify something that you're a little bit confused about, maybe putting a question mark there. And then as you're looking through your notes again, saying, hey, the teacher said that's going to be on the next test. Let me put an asterisk there to make sure I know that that's going to be a possible test question. That's 4 options for repetitions using the notes section. What about the left section, the question section? Well, the way that we get multiple repetitions there is by first off chunking our notes into multiple sections there. Once I've got my notes chunked, what I'm going to do is write a corresponding question for each of those main ideas in those chunks. So if I had 3 chunks, I'm going to have 3 questions in my left column. And remember that I'm always thinking like a teacher, trying to anticipate what the test question is going to be over that section. All right, so what about that summary section at the bottom? What I want to do there is read back through all the questions that I've written on my page of notes here, my essential question and my questions in the left column, and write a 1-sentence answer or response to each one of those questions to build my summary. What that forces me to do is to go back and read my essential question, to read my notes, to read my questions, and basically getting another repetition of all of that information that's there on the page. And now that I've built my learning tool, I can use my page of notes to study for tests a couple different ways. First off is the fold over method, where I put a crease down my page of notes right there along that left column line. And I have my questions there. Hopefully I was thinking like a teacher there. I've got some good potential test questions. And then if I ever forget the answer to that test question, I've got it right there in my notes also. Anything that I'm still confused about, I can bring that question to tutorials. I can always use my Cornell notes as a resource during tutorials. And then lastly, I always want to be studying, revising, comparing my notes with a friend, making sure that my notes are accurate, and using that skill of collaboration that we work on in AVID all the time. So we just looked at 10 different ways to get multiple repetitions of information using your Cornell notes. But maybe you're thinking to yourself about now, hey, Cornell note maker guy, you sound like a jerk. I'm only going to do half of what you told me to do. That's okay, because even with 5 repetitions of the material, we know that our retention level is going to stay really high, above 90%. And when that test comes around, we're going to have all the information we need to be able to make an A on